Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about how I became a homemaker at the age of 22, as well as my future goals for my YouTube channel. So hi guys, my name is Victoria. I run Time and Tenderness here on YouTube and on Instagram. So if you are interested in any homemaking skills videos, cleaning videos, cooking videos, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe, and welcome. So let's just dive right into this video on how I became a homemaker at the age of 22. So I got married at 22, and at the time it wasn't my intention to become a homemaker straight out the gate. On the contrary, I was up until our wedding that I was actually working, and I had a long desire to be a stay-at-home wife, but I figured I would still work even after getting married. And at the time I didn't feel like it was appropriate to be a stay-at-home wife without having kids. I just thought it wasn't appropriate. So my husband and I both had the blessing of having our mothers be at home with us, either full-time or part of the time. My mother stayed home with me and my brother when we were really little, and then when we were school age, she went back to work. And then my husband had the wonderful blessing of having his mom home all the time. She is still a proud stay-at-home wife even to this day. So when I was 16 or 17, I remember doing chores in my mother's kitchen, and at the time I was still in high school. I was going to a trade school, I was working, and I was participating in volunteer ministry work from time to time. And I just remember stopping whatever I was doing and looking out the window, and I began to pray. And I prayed for two things: one, for me to meet a guy who loved me for me and had the same goals as me, and two, for me to be able to have the blessing of one day being a stay-at-home wife. So when I met my husband, I was 20. We became friends first, and then at 21, I started dating. We got engaged 9 months later, and then by the time I was 22, we had gotten married. So when my husband and I were dating / courting, I had made it very clear about my goals in life and what my goals were. So I was very honest and open about my feelings, about the future, and how I wanted to eventually one day be a stay-at-home wife. To my joy and utter surprise, my husband had the same exact goals for me, and since his background of having a mom at home with him growing up, he had a very positive view of a stay-at-home wife. So I was shocked and very pleasantly surprised to find out that his goals and my goals were exactly the same. So at the time, my husband and I lived an hour and a half from each other, so one of us was going to have to give up their jobs to move to where the other one lives. So it was me that decided to move, because my husband does have the better job, and did have the better job at the time. So it was my full intention to continue working, but I had to resign from the position that I was in where I was living at that time. But I had planned to go back to work once we were married and once I was settled into married life. So before I got married, and when I graduated high school, and even when I was in high school, I worked as an esthetician. So I had gone to school for cosmetology. I graduated high school with my hair, skin, and nails license for the state of Maryland, and I began working as an esthetician, taking care of skincare and working in a spa, and I absolutely loved it. It was like my dream job. I loved it. It was so much fun. But when I moved, I unfortunately had to give up the position that I was in, where I was living at the time, because of the distance, and I decided to start looking for work again where we had moved to. So when we moved, I applied at 5 places, and unfortunately I only heard back from 2 of those places. One lady, she looked at my resume and my cover letter, and she was like, "Oh, you've never worked here in this county before?" And I was like, "No, I just moved here." And then she was like, "Oh, so you don't have any county references?" I was like, "No, I just moved here." She was like, "We're not hiring." And then the other place I had applied at, I heard back from them actually a year later, and what had happened was the receptionist took my application and just shoved it behind the computer and never turned it into anybody. And I was very annoyed that that had happened, but also it was a year later, and I was already really well settled into being a stay-at-home wife at that time. Because after I had applied for work, again, I applied at 5 places. I only heard back from 2. The other 3 never bothered to call me or anything. We sat down and we ultimately decided to just stay a single income family, because it was and still is our ultimate goal to keep our life simple. So there have been many joys as well as challenges and difficulties when it comes to being a stay-at-home wife. So I just explained my journey on how I had always wanted to be a stay-at-home wife and how I ultimately became a stay-at-home wife, which looking back now is totally an answer to all of my prayers that I ever prayed. Yeah, definitely, because, you know, I did apply for work and I just straight up was told, no, stay home pretty much. So there have been many joys and many difficulties with being a stay-at-home wife. Some of the difficulties of being a stay-at-home wife slash homemaker is that it's not normal anymore. You know, the norm today is that both people work, both people in the marriage work. And there's nothing wrong with having a career, whether it be full-time or part-time. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, I was planning on doing it, it just didn't happen for me. But ultimately, you know, being a stay-at-home wife isn't the norm. And unfortunately, some people look down upon it and they make assumptions. They think that you're spoiled. They think that you're just rolling in cash, that you must be bored all the time. But on the, you know, it's not true at all. Like I said, for us, it was our goal to maintain a simple lifestyle and not accrue any debt. So with me being home, we're allowed, it allows us to, you know, just keep our eyes simple and just, you know, work with our one income that we have. Because if I had a job, we would have extra money and we'd be tempted to spend it on extra things that we have no time or no need for, and we could fall into a trap of, you know, and get a trap of debt or slip up and, you know, fall into the trap of debt. My mother-in-law has been a huge supporter to me for being a stay-at-home wife because she herself is one. She's been one since my husband was born. So whenever I'm feeling down, she's always reminding me of all the good that I'm doing as a stay-at-home wife. She reminds me that, you know, people pay a lot of money for, you know, cooks and maids and personal assistants and personal shoppers, which I do all those things. I think I read somewhere that a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home mom can be valued at, if they had to be paid for what they all do, they would be valued at making over, you know, 6 figures a year. So being home, I'm doing all this other stuff, you know, and other people, they might say, hey, but you know, your husband should be helping you with other things. Why do you only have to do these certain tasks and he only does these certain tasks? Well, you know, if I was working, my husband would 100% be helping me with other tasks, but I'm not working, so that my job is taking care of the home. Anything that goes on inside the home, it is literally my job. That is my job description. I don't get a normal paycheck. Sure, I don't get a normal paycheck, but it is my job and I take great pride in it. So I actually, you know, I got my phone. I have a quote here that I wanted to share. It says it's by C.S. Lewis. I don't know if that's true or not, but it says, "Homemaking is surely in reality the most important work in the world. What do ships, railways, mines, cars, government, etc. exist except for that people may be fed, warmed, and safe in their own homes? The homemaker's job is one for which all others exist." So that's just off Google. I don't know if it's actually by C.S. Lewis or not, but I really like that quote because, you know, I get immense joy and satisfaction from being home and taking care of my home and taking care of my husband and my dog. And many think that I'm weird or crazy because I like that stuff, but you know, you shouldn't think that because somebody likes a certain thing that's different from the norm that they're, you know, weird or crazy. We all like what we like. We all have different personalities and we all, you know, have free will. And some might think that a stay-at-home wife is spoiled, but I'm not spoiled. I can trust you. Trust me, I'm not spoiled. And you know, this is just our lifestyle and it is what it is. So a year ago, I started my YouTube channel as like an accountability project. I was struggling at the time with some laziness, with some time management issues, and motivation. I was already watching cleaning videos on YouTube, and you know, I found that after watching those videos, I would start to feel more motivated to clean my own home. So I figured, well, what if I, you know, started, you know, videotaping myself as like an accountability project? Like I can actually see myself doing and accomplishing things. So that's why I started my YouTube channel as kind of like an accountability project, and I just really enjoyed it after that. So now you might be asking, if I'm a stay-at-home wife, why was I struggling with getting things done if I have all this extra time since I'm not working or anything? And the answer is simple. You know, I'm not perfect. None of us are, and I am a huge procrastinator. You can ask my mom. I've always been a huge procrastinator, and it's been a struggle to not procrastinate as much being married. And I tend to work better when I have a, you know, strict schedule and I have deadlines for things. So after starting my channel, I gave myself set deadlines and a set schedule. So now, and I have an audience now of all 500 of you right now. But if you want to subscribe and become, you know, raise that number a little bit, you can. But, you know, having my deadlines for wanting to get my videos out, it really helps me get a whole lot more accomplished and made me feel so much better and feel like I have a hobby now and a purpose, and I just really enjoyed it. And at first people made fun of me, and I still have friends who tease me about my YouTube channel, but I don't really care what they think anymore. I know I'm not doing anything wrong. The videos I try to put out positive videos that people can learn from. I don't want to put out anything controversial or eyebrow raising. So when I put out a video, I want it to be so that somebody can learn from it. So it's really helped me, you know, again, with my motivation and getting things done around the house. And I feel like in the past year of making videos, I've self-improved a lot. As Bakeful November, which was last month, the challenge that I did last month, my homemaking baking challenge, as that came to a close, I was kind of feeling sad because I didn't have a project anymore. Like I'm still gonna probably bake all the time because now I really enjoy doing that. But now I just feel like during Bakeful November, I was able to quote unquote meet a lot of people on the internet who messaged me and were participating in Bakeful November. And a lot of you all are also fellow homemakers, fellow stay-at-home wives and mothers, and you really enjoyed Bakeful November, and I really enjoyed getting to meet you all, quote unquote meet you all, by watching either the videos that you guys put out or the things that you put out on Instagram. So thank you for participating. You have been a huge motivation for me, and it has inspired me to want to put out even more homemaking style videos for motivation. So I specifically want to put out homemaking skill set videos. So some of the homemaking topics that I want to cover are things like how to cook, how to clean, entertaining etiquette, self-care, as well as household management skills. So if you have any videos, ideas that fit into any of those categories, let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I'll make a video about it. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this little chatty video with me. I haven't done one in a while. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know next time when I make a video. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye!